Okay, can you guys see my screen? Jennifer, thank you. So I was planning to going over the review sheets for exam 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I was thinking, well, instead of doing that, maybe I can just go over a few questions from before. So I'll go over a few questions, and these questions, the worksheet, I cannot post it on. I cannot share it with you guys. So whatever you see on the screen, just take screenshots. And our final exam is next week, Wednesday, 8 a.m. in the morning. And I think the classroom location is different. So I'll send out an email about our final exam location. And I'll also tell you in our next class. Now my plan for today is to going over a few questions, as many questions as possible from the entire semester. And whatever the final exam it has. So our final exam, it has total 30 questions. In these 30 questions, there are 22 non-calculator and 8 questions will be in the calculator. And in this 8 questions, 2 are non-multiple choice and 6 are multiple choice. And in these 22, 4 are non-multiple choice and the rest 18 are multiple choice. Now, even though you have multiple choice, but they don't count if you don't show your work fully, if you don't show your correct work. If the work is wrong, but you pick the correct multiple choice, it's still wrong. Your work has to match with your work. Sorry, your work has to match with the final multiple choice. And if you, let's say, did your work, but you did not pick any multiple choice, it's also 0. Because all the multiple choice are very close to one another. Which one you know the correct answer? Do you know that or not? So if you don't pick the correct multiple choice with the correct work, then there is no credit. And I am warning you guys, you already know how picky I am about correct work. So, does anybody have any question before we start? How many points per questions? 3.5 questions. 3.5 points per question. So you get extra 5 points. However, the maximum you can earn in the exam is 100. So final exam is out of 105 points, but you'll get 100 points. So 5 points is extra floating around. Any other question before we start? The entire day today I had class from 9:55. So my voice is by now, since I have other 2 classes and they were long. One class was 2 hours 5 minutes, the other class was 1 hour 40 minutes. But they kept me for 45 minutes. So I talked for so long. Now my voice is very, very low. So if you don't understand anything or if you don't hear me, please let me know. Okay? My head is hurting so badly. Okay. The first question is asking, find the equation of the line perpendicular to this line. and that perpendicular line goes to the point 3, -2. So this is x1, y1 for the perpendicular line. And this line gonna tell us what's the slope of the perpendicular line. So the slope of this line is -x/y. It's the shortcut. If you know the slope of this line is -x/y, then you don't have to solve for y. Otherwise, you have to solve for y to see what's the slope. So our x is 3 and our y is -5. So you have negative 3 over -5. So it's 3 over 5. Now the perpendicular line, they have negative reciprocal. Means the slope for the perpendicular line will be negative and you flip your fraction. So you get 5 over 3. So this is the slope of the perpendicular line and this is the point for perpendicular line. Once you have a slope and the point it goes through, then you can go ahead and write the formula. Y minus y1 slope x minus x1. So our y1 is -2. So y minus -2 and our slope is -5 over 3. X minus our x is 3. So you get +2 here. Y +2 and you distribute here. So -5 over 3x and then -5 over 3 times -3. 3 on the denominator cancel the 3 on the numerator. The negative and negative turns into positive. So you get y plus 2 equals -5 over 3x plus the 5. And then lastly subtract 2. So you get y equals -5 over 3x plus 3. So you are going to box your answer and then pick the correct choice. So our correct choice is B, -5 over 3x plus 3. That's all you should do in the final exam. If you don't do all of these, then I am warning you guys, you're not going to get any credit for that. Any question on this? Let me know when you have a question. The next one is a word problem. It says when a bakery sells brownies for $2 per brownie, the bakery sold 700 brownies. So when the price is $2, they sell 700 brownies. But when the price goes up and becomes $6, then it sells only 300 brownies. It says find an equation related to the demand to the price, assuming that there's a linear relationship between price and demand. So basically you're finding y equals mx plus b. So they're saying Q, the demand, is the y value and the price P is the x value. So this is the x value and this is the y value. The goal is to find y equals mx plus b. So first you need m. M is delta y over delta x. Means y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So for y's, let's say this is y1 and this is y2. That means this should be our x1 and this should be our x2. So you do 300 minus 700 divided by 6 minus 2. So you get negative 400 divided by 4. So it's negative 100. That means this is not our choice. This is not. So you have 2 choices left. And you have to find your y-intercept. So you can do y minus y1 slope x minus x1. Y minus our y1 is 700. Our slope is negative 100. And our x1 is $2. So I'm using this x1 and y1. You distribute and you add 700 to both sides. So your y equals to negative 100x. Negative times negative is positive 200. And then you are adding 700. So that gives you y equals negative 100x plus 900. That means our correct choice is B. Any question? And the next one, find the domain. For any type of domain question, you always start with your condition. We know square root can take positive, square root can take 0, but square root cannot take negative. So condition is that whatever we have inside, that has to be either positive or 0. And this positive or 0, we can use the symbol bigger than or equal to 0 to represent the notation positive or 0. In other words, whatever we have inside, that thing has to be 0 or it can be positive. So our condition is that the entire square root has to be either bigger than 0 or it can be equals to 0. So what do we have? 81 minus x squared. So to solve for x, square both sides, and we get 81 minus x squared bigger than or equal to 0. Then we add x squared. So we get 81 is bigger than or equal to x squared. Now this looks weird because we always have x on the left. So we can change this. But observe that the mouth of the inequality is toward 81. So if you write 81 and x squared, the mouth has to go here. Madison, question?
Yeah. How come before you can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, how come you don't factor first, then set the factor to 0?
You can do that or you can start with solving. It's up to you.
Oh, okay.
But if you do factor, that actually makes things easier. So I would recommend factoring. But to be honest, I actually forgot factoring. But if you don't factor, you still have x squared. And we have to use 81 now with the equal sign, because if you take the square root, the inequality doesn't make sense anymore. So instead of this inequality, you use equal sign and you solve for x. When you solve for x, anytime you take the square root of any variable, you have 2 choices. One is plus and one is minus. So we get x equals either plus 9 or minus 9. So what does it mean? It means what numbers gives you positive or zero result inside the radical. So you go to the number line. We have negative infinity, positive infinity, and we have the two numbers negative 9 and positive 9. You pick any interval and then test out your number. For example, you can pick a number from the first interval. Let's say you're picking negative 10. And then you put it here to see does it give you something positive or something negative. So square root of 81 minus negative 10 square. So 81 minus 100, you get something negative. But we are not allowed to have negative. That means we cannot use any number in this interval, because all the numbers in this interval will make the radical invalid. One good thing here is that if you test only one number, the other intervals alternate. Means if you cannot take this interval, you're allowed to take this one, and you cannot take this interval. So if you don't want to show your work, you can just do this because they alternate. But if you don't remember that they alternate, then you're going to show work for every interval. You're going to pick another number from here. Let's say x equals 0. And then you're going to substitute minus 0, which is a positive number. And we're allowed to have a positive number inside the radical. And then you can pick another number from here. And you will see that we are not allowed to have any number bigger than 9. That means our domain is only the number from negative 9 to positive 9. And we're allowed to use negative 9 because when we have x equals negative 9, our interval is 81 minus negative 9 square, which is 81 minus 81, which is 0, and it's valid. Same thing when x is 9, we can substitute 81 minus 9 squared, which is 81 minus 81, which is square root of 0, and it's allowed. So these are valid numbers. So we can use negative 9 and positive 9. That's why we are going to use bracket. Because bracket means you're allowed to use the number, and parenthesis means you cannot use the number next to that. So we can substitute x with negative 9. We can substitute x with positive 9. And we can substitute anything between negative 9 to positive 9. So these are the only numbers we're allowed to put here. Any question? Okay. The next one is from your third exam. Sorry, fourth exam. It says on which interval this function is continuous. So to do this, observe that we have negative 3 and positive 1. Negative infinity, positive infinity. We have 3 intervals. In the first interval, our function is x squared. From negative 3 to 1, our interval is negative 3x. And in this interval, anything bigger than 1 is 3x squared plus 1. Now, all of these are continuous functions. So it's continuous everywhere. The only problem is we don't know, is it continuous at negative 3 and is it continuous at positive 1? So we have to check these two scenarios. And to check this two scenario, we are going to substitute 3 and see what's the y value, negative 3. And we are going to substitute negative 3 here, and then we are going to see what's the y value. So if this negative 3, by substituting here, gives you the same y value, then it's continuous. But if it gives you different y values, then it's not continuous. We're going to do the same thing. The one you see, we're going to substitute here and observe the y value. We're going to substitute here and see the y value. If both of them gives you the same y value, then they are continuous. Otherwise, they're not continuous. So let's see what happens. Our x is -3, and I'm substituting into the first function. Y is x squared. When y is x squared, we get -3 squared, which is +9. So here we get the y value +9. Now for x, same -3. This portion is saying it's -3x. It means -3 times -3. So we get 9. So this portion also gives you same 9. Since these two are same, so our function is continuous at -3 because we have the y value, same y value for both functions. So it's safe for -3. Now we check 1. So let me change the color. We substitute 1 here. So when x is 1, our left function is -3x. And when x is 1, our right function is 3x squared plus 1. So let's see what do we get. -3 times 1 is -3. And here 3 times 1 squared plus 1 is 3 plus 1, which is 4. You see, we have two different y values. So one y value is down here, the other y value is up here. So we have a jump here. So this function is not continuous at x equals 1. So what does that mean? It means from -infinity to 1, it's continuous. From 1 to +infinity, it's continuous. But the only place it's not continuous is at 1. It's not continuous at 1. So this is the right choice. From -infinity to 1, it's continuous. From 1 to infinity, it's continuous. But only at 1, the function is discontinuous. Any question? Okay. The next one says find difference quotient. So we have f of x 9x squared minus 8x. Difference quotient means this. First, you need to find what is f of x plus h. And then substitute this. And then subtract the original function. So this means here you keep the same outline. You just change every x into x plus h. So when you do that, the first one becomes 9 times x plus h, x plus h. So it's a foiling method, not distribution. And here you can distribute minus 8x minus 8h. And then you have to see what do you get from this distribution. So when you FOIL, you get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And then minus 8x minus 8h. And then you distribute your 9. So you get 9x squared plus 18xh plus 9h squared, and then this 8x minus 8h. Once you're done with that, you find the next thing, which is f of x plus h minus f of x. Means from here, you're going to subtract this f of x. So when you subtract, the sign will change. The 9x squared becomes negative 9x squared, and the minus 8x becomes positive 8x. Because you're subtracting more than once. So when you subtract 9x squared minus 8x, the negative sign will change. And then whatever result you get, you divide this result by h. And then you simplify. So you have 9x squared cancel out. Minus 8x plus 8x cancel out. And if you observe, all of these, they have h in common. So you can pull out the h and you get 18x from here, 9h from here, minus 8 from here. Whole thing divided by h. Cancel the h. So this is the answer. So you circle your multiple choice. Now, if you circle the multiple choice without doing all the work, remember it's 0. You need to show your full work, which is correct, and then pick the correct multiple choice.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I hope this is not a dumb question, but
It's okay. We love dumb question.
how how do you know the difference between just doing difference quotient and like doing like the derivative thing the long way? Makes sense.
For derivative, for difference quotient, they will tell you specifically, find the difference quotient. And for derivative, it's the difference quotient with the limit in the front. So for difference quotient, there is no limit. But for derivative, it's the limit of the difference quotient. So h goes to 0, and then your difference quotient.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Now the next one is asking, they give us profit of selling X units is this. They give us profit and they're asking for maximum profit. So maximum, minimum, anytime you see the word max and min, it automatically means derivative equals 0. And then solve for x. Solve for x. This is what it means. So our profit is negative 3x squared plus 60x plus 200. They're asking for maximum profit. It means derivative of the profit. So you take the derivative. You get negative 6x plus 60. Then you set this derivative equals 0 and solve for x. But this x will be number of units or items. But they're asking for maximum profit. So that means you have to substitute the x value here to see what is your profit, the money. So this will give you items and then you substitute into the profit to get the profit. Go ahead, question. Do you have question, guys?
I have a question really quickly. So whenever it says like maximum, minimum, and marginal, you always take the derivative first?
Yes.
Okay.
And for maximum, minimum, you set the derivative equals 0. But for marginal, you don't do that. For marginal, you take the derivative and then you do rest based on what they're asking. But
Okay.
maximum, minimum automatically means derivative is 0. And then you solve for x. And then you do, if they're asking for items, you stop here after solving for x. But if they're asking for money, that means you need to substitute to get the money because x is item, not the money. So when you solve for x, we get x is 10. But this 10 is items. They're not asking for items, they're asking for money. So to get the money, you need to substitute here. Negative 3 times 10 square plus 60 times 10 plus 200. So 10 square is 100. 100 times 3 is 300. So negative 300, positive 600, and the 200. Huh? I didn't hear you. What did you say? We get 300 and 200. So our answer is 500. So my choice is B. $500 is the money. Um, let me see, what did you learn? Oh, okay. Okay, Jawad. Let me know anytime you guys have any question, okay? Stop me, and anytime you don't hear me or don't understand me, let me know. Because today, sometimes I don't even understand myself. I'm trying to talk, but my voice is not producing any sound. So half of the sound is inside, half of the sound is coming out. Are you guys in the classroom? I told you to be in the classroom so that you guys all can be together. And you know, in my morning class, what they did, they turned on the classroom. One of them signed in Zoom in the classroom, and then the entire class was in the class, and we are having an online class in the classroom with the screen on. And it was fun. So you guys can do the same thing if you're in the classroom. Only you are in the classroom, Jawad? Oh, I wanted all of you to be in the classroom. Okay, the next question. Hmm. Which one is the graph of this one? So in order to find the graph, you have to remember your rules. If you have even degree with positive coefficients, for example, something like x squared. So there are 4 scenarios. Let me write them down. Our degree is even, means our power is even, and our coefficient is positive. So positive degree, even coefficient, sorry, even coefficient, even degree, positive coefficient. The best example is x squared. For x squared, we have a parabola upward. Why do we care? Why do we care? Because in your graph, in your equation, if you have the degree is even and the coefficient, the leading coefficient is positive, then your end behavior will be this one. You're going upward on both direction. If you have even degree with negative coefficient, for example, something like negative x squared, our degree is even, but our coefficient is negative. So we have an upside down parabola. So in your equation, if you have the degree of the polynomial is even and the leading coefficient is negative, your end behavior will go downward on both directions. Then you have the third scenario. If you have odd degree with positive coefficient, for example, x cube. Cube is an odd power and our coefficient is positive. So the graph of x cube is this. That means if your polynomial has degree odd and leading coefficient is positive, the right side will go up and the left side will go down. It will follow the cubic shape. And the last one is odd degree with negative coefficient, something like negative x cube, which has this shape. Means the left will go up, the right will go down. So these four scenarios you have to remember. And you also remember, you have to remember two more things. How do you identify degree of the polynomial? Based on what type of polynomial you have, you find the degree differently. If you have a degree in factored form, so if you have a polynomial in factored form, then your degree is, let's say you have m power, n power, p power, and then let's say you have x to the 2 here and q here. Okay, so if you have in factored form, your degree is this. You add all this degree, and here you have 2 degrees. One is 2 and one is q, so 2q. So basically you add all the powers of x or the powers of the factors for x if it's in factored form. This is scenario 1. Or if you have a degree, let's say x to the 100 plus x to the 200 minus x to the 500. So if it's in expanded form, then your degree is the highest number, highest power, which is here. And your leading coefficient is whatever term has the highest degree, the coefficient is your leading coefficient. Now, in our case, this is scenario 1. We have a factored form. So we have x3 and x1 power. So we have a negative in the front. So negative 3 plus 1 gives us 4 power. So this is our scenario. We have a negative leading coefficient and even degree. So negative coefficient even degree is something like this one. Means our both end will have to go down. So we omit this one, this one, this one. So we have 2 candidates. Either it's B or it's C. So how do you know which one is correct? If you solve for x, you get x equals 3 here and x equals -1 here. So this one has 2x intercept. Now which of these has 2x intercept? Both of them. So that doesn't work. Then you have to check. So at 3, we have the degree 3. Means when it's crossing, it's lying down more than when it's crossing -1. So here it's crossing -1 quickly, and here it's crossing -1 more slowly. So the higher the degree, the more lie down you on the x-axis. Not you, the graph. The more graph lies down on the x-axis. So 3 has higher degree, so it's crossing slowly. -1 has only degree 1, so it's crossing fast. So only this one follows the condition, follows the rules, and the other one doesn't follow. Oh, also this one is -1 and -3, but we have -1 and +3, so obviously B is the correct choice. Any question? Okay, the next one is price. The price of a product is P, and the demand, the price is given by the demand function, and this is our supply equation. So this is demand, and this is supply. At what price we have market equilibrium? Market equilibrium means demand equals price. So we set them equal to one another, and we need to solve for price. When you set them equal to one another, you get X, but X is an item. Again, they're not looking for item, they're looking for price. So once you get the item, you substitute either into the supply or into the demand, it doesn't matter. They are the same. They will give you the same price. So both of them have P on one side. So we can cancel the P's and we set the right side equal to one another. So 34 minus 3x equals 1 plus 8x. And then you solve for x. 8x is bigger, so let's keep it. And we bring the 3x from the other side. You can also subtract 1, so 1 gets vanished. So we get 11x on one side and 34 minus 1, 33 on the other side. You divide by 11, so we get x equals 3. But we are not looking for items. This is items. We are looking for price. So you take any one of them. 1 plus 8x, and you do 1 plus 8 times 3. So 1 plus 24. So our price is $25, which is it. So the background information you need to know is this. Your demand plus supply gives you market equilibrium. So anytime you see market equilibrium, set demand equal price. And if you don't have the same variable on both sides, first you have to solve for one variable, and then you set the other side equals to one another. And now comes derivative. F of x is 3x squared minus 13 to the power 10. They want us to find the derivative at 2. Before we find the derivative at 2, first we need to find the derivative at x. Who can tell me which derivative rule is supposed to use here? Product, quotient, power, chain.
Is it chain?
Good job. It is chain because we have a power and then we have an inner function. So you have two functions together. So chain rule says first work with the power. So use the power rule. Power rule says bring the power down and then reduce the power by 1. So we applied the power rule first. And when you apply the power rule, you cannot change the inner function. So we have to keep our inner function 3x squared minus 13. Derivative is very weak. It can only change one function at a time or one thing at a time. So it changed the power, so it cannot change the inner function. And then once you're done with the power, then you multiply by the derivative of the inner function. So derivative of inner is 6x and 13 is 0. So this is your derivative, and then you simplify. So you have 10 and 6x, they are single without any power. So you can multiply them together. We get 60x and then 3x squared minus 13 to the power 9. And now we can find derivative at 2. So 60 times 2, 3x squared minus 13 to the power 9. And every x you see, turn into 2. Now use PEMDAS. PEMDAS says do the parentheses first and then work with your exponents. Once you're done with that, then you do the multiplication. So we do 60 times 2, 120. And then we get 3 times 2 squared. So 3 times 4, which is 12. And then minus 13 gets the power 9. So 12 minus 13 is negative 1. We get 120, negative 1 to the 9. Now if you multiply negative 1 9 times, you get negative 1 back. So you get 120 times negative 1, which is negative 120. You see, they have both choices, positive 120, negative 120. So you have to be very careful. You have to circle the correct one.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I know you're going over like a practice final, but can you quickly do an example where I think we have to do product and chain rule?
Let's see, do you have an example here? They don't have any example, but one example I noticed before is this. Y equals x times square root of x plus 1. Something like this. So this is an example of product and quotient, product and chain. So first step, you rewrite the radical. So it's x times x plus 1 with the 1/2 power. And let's say this is x squared. So we'll not mix up. So you do, let's say this is our f function and this is our g function. So you go and find the f prime and g prime separately. F is x squared, so f prime is 2x. G is x plus 1 with 1/2 power. So g prime is 1/2 x plus 1 and then negative 1/2 times the derivative of the inside, which is 1. We cannot have negative power, so we have to bring this negative power on the denominator. So in the numerator, we get 1 times 1, which is 1. On the denominator, we have 2, and we have this entire thing with the positive power. So it's square root of x plus 1. And I'm using square root because it will make looks nicer. So this is f prime, and this is our g prime.
Wait, quick question. So the negative 1/2 turns into positive 2/1, which is just radical x plus 1?
So if we have x to the negative 1/2, it means it's 1 over x to the positive 1/2, which is 1 over square root of x.
Okay.
In our case, we have x plus 1 with the negative 1/2. It means 1 over x plus 1 with the positive 1/2, which is 1 over square root of x plus 1. Now this 2 comes from here. The 1/2, remember you're bringing down, then 1/2 minus 1. So this 1/2, this 2 is already on the denominator, and now this negative is telling us put this on the denominator. So thus I put them together on the same denominator. Some people do this 1/2 over square root, but this looks weird because it looks complicated. So this and this are same thing, but this one looks more nicer because you have only one denominator, and here you have 1 and 2 denominator, which makes things more harder. So 1/2 comes from the power, and the radical comes from the negative power. So you do, okay?
Yes.
So f prime g, and then g times f prime. So f prime is 2x, and our g function is the square root of x plus 1. Oh, wait, what did I do? Come on. F prime g, and then f g prime. So f function is x squared here, and our g prime is this entire thing here. So 1 over 2 square root of x plus 1. And now in my exam, you have to set it equals to 0 because you are finding something maximum or minimum, whatever I forgot. That means to solve for x, you need to simplify this a little bit. So first of all, you can multiply these two because they both are on the numerator. So you get 2x square root of x plus 1 plus x squared, and then 2 square root of x plus 1 equals 0. Now to solve for x, it looks complicated, but actually it's not. Why not? Because if you want to get rid of the denominator, you need to multiply the numerator by this denominator. But you cannot just multiply one term, you have to multiply both terms. As a result, the denominator cancel out, so you have no more denominator. And what you get is this. So you have 2x times 2. You combine them, you get 4x. And we have radical x plus 1, square root of x plus 1, square root of x plus 1. So you have square root of x plus 1, 2 of them. Plus, on the second term, you have only x squared, no more denominator, equals 0. And now this becomes easy. The radical and the power cancel out. So you get 4x times x plus 1 plus x squared equals 0. And now it's a simple algebraic equation. So you distribute, you get 4x squared plus 4x, and then plus x squared equals 0. So you combine like terms, you get 5x squared plus 4x equals 0. And now solving this is easy because this is GCF. You factor out x, and you get 5x plus 4 equals 0. So either x is 0 or 5x plus 4 is 0. If 5x plus 4 is 0, then your x is negative 4 over 5. So probably in my exam, this question was under velocity. The displacement is given, find the velocity when the velocity is 0, something like that. So you find the derivative, set the derivative equals to 0, solve for x.
Thank you so much. So I'm if given a problem like this, because we had something like this similar in our exam, but I just couldn't figure out like past the multiplying the two radical x plus one. Are we always going to have to set it equal to 0? Because I didn't
It
do that
depends
either.
on what they're asking for.
Oh,
So
okay.
look at the question, what they're asking for. Are they asking for velocity when the velocity is 0, or when the velocity or whatever the derivative is? Did they give you a number to substitute, or did they ask you to set the derivative equals to 0? So it depends on your question, what they're asking. But that's how you find the derivative.
Okay.
And that's how you
But
simplify the derivative.
so the thing, it just said like find f prime of x. Would I still set it to 0 or no?
It depends. Like I'm telling you, if they're asking for horizontal tangent line, means derivative is 0. If they're asking when your derivative is 0, you said the derivative is 0. Like what they're asking in your question. You have to read the question and then see, are they asking you to set the derivative equals 0, or are they asking you to set the x to be 0?
Okay.
Like if they said when the line is when you have a horizontal tangent line, it automatically means derivative is 0. So you take the derivative and set it equals to 0, solve for x. Or when they're asking, I forgot, profit is 0. So if this is your derivative of the profit, then you set it equals to 0. Like it
Okay.
depends on what type of question they're asking. Uh,
Thank you.
no problem. There are so many questions, but we don't have time. See, there's an example of horizontal tangent line. They always ask one horizontal tangent line. So we have a function, and they're asking to find all the values of y for which we have a horizontal tangent line. And it's the calculator part. So what you're going to do is, anytime you see horizontal tangent line, means derivative equals to 0. So first you find the derivative, f prime of x. So derivative is 12x cubed, and then 36x squared, and then 24x minus 72. And you set it equals to 0. And then you have two choices. Two choices. If you use calculator, then you can insert this. So you write, if you use TI-89, TI-89. If you use TI-89, then you're going to first click home, and then F2. It will give you an option to solve. So you click on solve. Once you click on solve, then you're going to insert this entire thing in the calculator. So you're going to write 12 times x cubed minus 36 times x squared plus 24 times x minus 72 equals 0, and then comma x, and then close the parentheses. So you will insert the parentheses. The solve will give you the parentheses, and you have to insert the parentheses by yourself, and then hit enter. When you do that, the calculator will tell you x equals this. So if you have TI-89, that's how you do. But let's say you don't have TI-89, or you forgot your calculator, or your calculator doesn't work, or you have other calculators, then you have to do it manually. Now manually, it's not bad. Why not? Because observe, this is actually factorable. Anytime you have 4 terms, you need to group them into 2 groups. So in the first group, we have 12 in common, and also we have x squared in common. In the second group, between 24 and 72, we have 24 in common, and 24 has a plus sign. So both groups have something in common, and then you're going to factor out the rest. 12 divided by 12 is 1, x cubed divided by x squared is x. So in the first term, you get x left, 36 and 12. 12 goes to 36 3 times, and you already pull out the x square. So you're left with x minus 3. Now here, if you pull out 24, you get x. And if you divide 72 by 24, you'll see it's 3. Now see, the same two groups, they both have x minus 3 in common. So you factor out x minus 3, and you're left with the first group has 12x squared. The second group has 24. Equals 0. So you solve for x. X minus 3, 0. That gives you x equals 3. And here we have 12x squared plus 24 equals 0. So 12x squared is negative 24. Divide by 12. X squared is negative 2. And then take the square root. But when you take the square root, this one doesn't exist. So basically you get nothing from the second group. So you only get x equals 3, and that's your answer. So you have to box x equals 3.
Will the calculator questions on the exam, will you also be able to do them manually?
Yes, most of them are.
What? My professor said none of them are you can do manually. Wow.
Not really true.
I
Most
missed
of them
my
are doable, but the numbers are big. So in order to simplify, you use the calculator. But see, this one, it's doable by hand. See, I did it without calculator. I got the answer.
What? Okay. Thank you.
It actually depends on who is making the final. Whoever making the final, if their mood is good, then they give good questions. If their mood is bad, they'll give you horrible questions. So that's how it works.
Do you
The
know
next,
I can access this document?
you cannot. That's why I told you to have a screenshot. That's
No,
why I'm recording this.
oh, you're recording it?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
I'm
thank you.
recording this. So you can just watch the recording and take notes on your notebook. So I cannot share the file with you. So I'm just doing it here.
It was 100 questions?
No, 30 questions.
Okay.
So this question was in my third exam. It says we have differentiable function, and this is our graph. Find the derivative of g. So they gave us g of x is square root of f of x plus 5, and they want us to find the derivative at 3. But before you find derivative at 3, first you need to know what's the derivative at x. So we have f of x plus 5 with the 1/2 power. That's no problem. I'm recording this so you can just watch the recording. So to take the derivative, it's a chain rule because we have a power and we have a function inside. The chain rule says to bring the half down and then subtract 1 from the 1/2. So it's negative 1/2. During this process, you cannot change the function inside. So leave your function inside and then you multiply by the derivative of the inner function. So we get f prime of x and derivative of 5 is 0. So in other words, you have f prime of x on the numerator, and on the denominator you have this 2, and you have this thing with negative power. This goes on the denominator. So square root of f of x plus 5 and the 2, both of them go on the denominator. And now we can find f prime at 3, g prime at 3. So it's f prime at 3 divided by 2 times square root of f of 3 plus 5. Now f prime at 3 is 17. So this is 17. And then f of 3 is 7. So this is 7 plus 5. So 17 divided by 2 times 12. And then you go calculator and then find out what is this. Now this is, if you use calculator, make sure you do 17 divided by parentheses and then 2 times 12 close your parentheses. Because if you do 17 divided by 2 times square root of 12, they are not same. This is wrong. So anytime you have more than one things on the denominator, you should always put parentheses. And whatever you get, that's your answer.
This is calculator question 2.
Yes. So you go to the calculator and you do 17 divided by 2 times 12 square root, close the parentheses, 2.45, 2.453. So this is the choice, 2.45. The next one is asking for average cost. So they gave you total cost and they're asking for average cost. Anytime you see the word average, it means you're dividing by number of items. The average cost is total cost divided by x. In other words, C of x divided by x. So here we have 5x squared plus 2x plus 900, and you are dividing by x. Now it's asking for total cost for selling 790 units. So x is 790. So your average cost, one of the easy method is divide them up. So 5x squared over x, 2x over x, and 900 over x. So you get smaller number, 5x plus 2 and 900 over x. So you do 5 times 790 plus 2 plus 900 divided by 790. And whatever you get, that's your answer. You can use this original one, no problem. But this one is simpler to work with. And then this special type. This one is asking for limit, but you actually don't need to use limit at all. The main thing is when you see the word limit, it means it's the derivative. So to find the derivative, we know it's f of x plus h minus f of x. So basically what you have here, that's the main thing. What is your f of x? Your f of x is 9x to the 45. And since they're working with derivative, so all you have to do is find the derivative. So 9 times 45, and then x to the 45 minus 1. 4/5 minus 1, this 1 is basically 5/5. So you get 4 minus 5, negative 1/5. This is x to the negative 1/5. Now this one has a negative power. That means this should go on the denominator. But you already have something on the denominator. That means these two will go together. So in the numerator, we get 9 and 4. 9 times 4 is 36. On the denominator, we have 5 and x to the 1/5. Now they're asking for the result when your x is 5. So you do 36 divided by 5 times 5 to the 1/5. So you go to the calculator and punch this and find out the answer. Well, let me see what's the answer. You have 36 divided by, again, we have to put a parentheses. So 5 times 5 to the power. For power, we need to put parentheses. So 5 times 5 to the power 1/5. We close the parentheses and we get 5.218. 5.218. What? Something is wrong. What did I do wrong? Oh, I forgot to put. No, I didn't. 9x to the 4. Oh, it's 4 third. Oh, man. I didn't see that. This is 4 third, okay? So let me erase this. This changes so many things. How come I didn't see that? Because I'm too tired. I'm teaching since 9:55. Okay, so 9 to the 4 third. So 4 third comes down and then 4 third minus 3 third. So 4 minus C is 1 third. So x to the 1 third. That means there is the denominator. 9 times 4 is 36. Oh, 3 goes to 9 3 times. So 3 times 4 is 12. We get 12 x to the 1 third. And then our x is 5. So it's 12 5 to the 1 third. So 12 times 5 to the power 1/3. 12 times 5 to the power 1/3. And it's 20.52. 20.52. And so it's somewhere here. Okay, I didn't see, guys. What did you write? Let me see. Jesse, yeah. I didn't get the time to read any emails. I'm teaching since 9:50 in the morning. So I'm still teaching. I didn't get any time. So I will see all the emails later. And by the way, if you guys asking me for extending the homework, I'm not gonna extend the homework because there is no point of doing the homework if you're failing the final exam. You must pass the final exam. And then you can pass the class. So you have only 1 week to study for the final exam. So concentrate on the final exam review. You have to study all the materials from review sheet 1, review sheet 2, review sheet 3, and review sheet 4. There are lots of materials to study. So study those materials in this week and then pass the final exam. If you pass the final exam only, then you can pass this class. But if you waste your time on doing the homework and not study for the final exam, and you fail the final exam, everything is just a waste. Okay? That's why I do not want to extend homework for anyone because there is no point. And that way you're doing, most of you are guys doing in the class. I'm really afraid that more than half of you may not pass the final exam. Because if you guys cannot pass my in-class exam, which is based on the final exam, how can you pass the final exam? Because I'm giving all the questions in the final exam and you are failing them. So try to do my in-class exam and the review sheet oil. I'm going to post the in-class exam, the blank sheet, so you can test yourself. And also, I think I have solutions somewhere lying around. So I'm going to post the solution also when I have them found. Okay. So that would be my advice for you to pass the final exam. If you pass the final exam, then I will calculate everything else. But I'm not too hopeful about the final exam. Final exam is hard. That's why try your best doing the review sheets. And next class we are gonna do in person.
Wait, this was the actual exam?
I said my in-class exams are based on the actual final exam. So if most of the students are not passing the in-class exam, how can they pass the final exam? Final exam is 30 questions. And in my in-class exam, I'm giving them only 10 to 15 questions. See? That's why I'm warning you guys. Like, don't be too hopeful and don't rely on the homework alone. So that's why I close all the homework because you need to pass the final exam definitely to pass this class fast. So the first condition is passing the final exam. If you pass the final exam with at least 50, then your average class score has to be 60. So once I'm done grading your, I mean, we are done grading your exam, but I still have 3 more classes to grade. So once I'm done grading everyone's exam, I'll have some time and then I'll calculate your grade and then I can tell you to what exactly you need in the final exam to pass this class. But I don't have time now. So I'm still grading 3 classes. And for medicine, I cannot do that to you because your instructor has different grading criteria.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, there's different versions of the final exam on the same day?
No, there are 2 final exams on the same day. One is in the morning, one is in the afternoon. So the morning final is different than the evening final. The afternoon, evening, not afternoon, sorry. So you guys going to take the final exam with in the morning, 8 a.m. And then people who have class after 5 p.m., their final exam will start from 6. So one same final exam, same final exam for all the morning class, same final exam for all the evening class.
Wait, if this is the exam for last spring, how come there's 104 questions?
Hmm. There is not 104 question. They just made the numbers like that. But definitely they are not 104 or 108 questions. There are only 30 questions here, but the numbers are whatever. Okay.
Okay.
So only 30 questions I have in this sheet, not more than 30.
Do you think we're going to fail, Professor?
My students, most of them will fail
What? Why would you say that?
because of how things are going in the class. Actually, I hope not. I really, really hope they all pass. I love to have them pass. I don't want anyone to fail. But the in-class exam, I'm worrying that if my in-class exam they are not passing, how can they pass the final exam? My in-class exam are the final exam. So I'm already giving them the final exam. Okay. So that's why no more homework. Concentrate on the exams, my exams. First do my exams. I'm going to post the solution once I find them. And then once you're done with learning all the in-class exam, then go to the review sheet. Review sheet are based on the final exams. So if you study my review sheet, my exams, you'll be fine in the final exam. That's the bottom line. And if you think you can study for 2 hours, 3 hours, and you'll be fine, then don't even expect to pass the final exam. You have 1 week time. You should study every day in the next 1 week if you want to pass.
How long each day?
It depends on you. How long do you think you need?
Are you doing review tomorrow as well?
Yeah, in next 2 classes, we are going to do more review. So here I was planning to do all 30 questions, but I didn't have time. So whatever is left, I'm going to do that in the next class. And also to go over a few of the in-class exam questions.
Okay. Are you going to do like Zoom tomorrow too, or only on like your class
No,
days?
in the next class, we are going to do on in person. So
Okay.
you're welcome to come to our classroom.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So any other questions from anyone?
What day is the final again?
Next week, Wednesday, 8 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
You're going to send the average grade for each one of us. That was my plan. But first I need to complete my grading my other 3 classes. Once I'm done grading, then I'll make a grade sheet for each class. So for you guys, I'm going to make a grade sheet and then tell you how much you need in the final exam to pass this class. Okay, Jennifer and everyone else. So thank you for being here, guys.
Wait, Professor,
Yeah.
can you go to the very top and slowly scroll down, please?
Jennifer, when? I'm not sure when because I have to grade my other 3 classes. So first, let me see what will I have in my other, when I can finish grading my other 3 classes, and then I'll make the grade sheet. So it should be before Friday, since Friday is our last class. But if I can do it, I can do it before Friday. Most likely I won't be able to do it because I have to make review for my all the other classes, and also I have to do grading, which takes time.
This is hard. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And these are basically the entire syllabus. So you have to learn all of this.
Oh my gosh.
There are still so many questions to go over. This is average rate of change. Here you are finding break even when the cost and revenue is given. This one is marginal revenue from the demand function. This is asking for implicit differentiation. This is the circle, find the radius. This is the quotient rule. This is regression, linear regression. Here you are finding related rate. This one is finding vertical asymptote. This one is derivative. This is average cost. This is chain rule. Horizontal tangent line. And this one is composite function.
That's it? That's all of them?
Yeah.